Hey everyone, it's me, Andrea from Andy's Corner, and I'm so glad that you joined me today for today's episode. Now, before our previous episodes, we just left off where Abraham did the circumcision covenant with all the men in his household. And if you don't know what that means, go check out my last video. Now, this one is exciting. This is chapter 18 of Genesis, and we're not going to cover the whole thing because the second part of the chapter gets into some craziness that we'll go and start a whole new series next episode. So, let's get started. Chapter 18. The Lord appeared again to Abraham near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. Now this is Lord, capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D. And that usually means Yahweh God himself. One day, Abraham was sitting at the entrance to his tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and noticed three men standing nearby. When he saw them, he ran to meet them and welcomed them, bowing low to the ground. "My lord," he said, "if it pleases you, stop here for a while. Rest in the shade of this tree while water is brought to wash your feet. And since you've honored your servant with this visit, let me prepare some food to refresh you before you continue on your journey." "All right," they said. "Do as you have said." So Abraham ran back to the tent and said to Sarah, "Hurry, get 3 large measures of your best flour, knead it into dough, and bake some bread." Then Abraham ran out to the herd and chose a tender calf and gave it to his servant, who quickly prepared it. When the food was ready, Abraham took some yogurt and milk and the roasted meat and served it to the men. As they ate, Abraham waited on them in the shade of the trees. Now, Abraham was a well-known, well-off, wealthy man, highly respected. And so for him to bow low and to so quickly act at bringing these men into his home shows you that there's something up with these men. And it says, obviously, the Lord appeared to him. So he knows this is someone special. And then later on in the next few chapters, we find out that the other 2 men are actually angels. So there's a saying, it's like you never know when you're entertaining angels. At this time, Abraham was actually entertaining angels. And he did the right thing by welcoming them into his home, feeding them, giving them the best meat, the best flour. Good job, Abraham. Ooh, how could I? Then, "Where is your Sarah, your wife?" the visitors asked. "She's inside the tent," Abraham replied. Then one of them said, "I will return to you about this time next year, and your wife," to clarify, your wife, Sarah, "will have a son." Sarah was listening to this conversation from the tent. Abraham and Sarah were both very old at this time, and Sarah was long past the age of having children. So she laughed silently to herself, like, "What? Yeah, right. And she said this, "How could a worn out woman like me enjoy such pleasure, especially when my husband, is also so old?" Then the Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh?" Excuse me. "Why did she say, 'Can an old woman like me have a baby?' Is anything too hard for the Lord?" I love that sentence because that encompasses everything about God and your whole life. If ever you feel like you're facing something that is so huge that it's too big for God, God tells you right here, "Listen, my child, nothing is too big for the Lord." So you don't have to be afraid because he can handle everything and anything you face. I love that. Then he says, "I will return about this time next year, and Sarah," again, to clarify, "will have a son." Sarah was so afraid she denied it, saying, "I didn't laugh." But the Lord said, "No, you did laugh." And we're going to stop right there. So what did you learn about God in this chapter? I learned so many things. I learned that he desires to be to spend time with his children. He came to visit Abraham. And not only did he could have just came and said, "Hey, you're going to have a baby next year and bye." But no, Abraham invited him to stay and have food. It was like they were friends. He came and had dinner, and then they had milk and yogurt. And it's like, that's so awesome. I want that kind of relationship with God. And guess what? He desires that kind of relationship with you. That's awesome. And I learned that nothing is too hard for the Lord. So when I feel so overwhelmed about things in my life, or people in my life, or situations in my life, I just know that I can take it to the Lord and know without a shadow of a doubt, nothing is too hard for the Lord. If I'm waiting or hoping for something that might seem impossible, nothing is too hard for the Lord. And if you're struggling today, facing something where you feel like, is this ever going to end? Or will I ever get this, whatever it is you want? Say, nothing is too hard for the Lord. Nothing is too hard for the Lord. And I love that, because we can't put our hope in ourselves and what we are physically capable of doing. Like Sarah and Abraham were physically old, too old to have children. But he says, nothing is too hard for the Lord. And I think that that's so exciting, that when Abraham and Sarah are discouraged based on their physical limitations, God encourages him by stating the truth of his strength. Wow. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It's not about what we're capable of. It's not about our strength. It's not about our knowledge. It's about God and his strength. And he is willing and ready to always help his children. But we have to be ready and willing to welcome him into our lives as Abraham did. Man! Ugh! That's so amazing, you guys. I love that. So stay alert, stay ready, and be ready to welcome him into your life. Because guess what? He desires a relationship with you. All right? Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Bye!